When alien female discovers why human males are the galaxy's most dangerous species, Zaylin, a young researcher from the Xenari Collective, narrates her mission. The Xenari are a peaceful and highly intelligent species, dedicated to studying other civilizations across the galaxy. For centuries, they have cataloged different species to determine which might pose a threat. Humans, specifically human males, hold a special place in these records as potentially the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. However, most of what the Xenari know about them comes from fragmented accounts. Human males are believed to have disappeared long ago after humanity's collapse, leaving their true nature shrouded in mystery. Zaylin has been tasked with completing the records on humans, particularly males, to determine if the stories about their danger are true or just myths. She approaches the mission with skepticism, convinced that the fear surrounding human males is overblown. To her, humans represent a species trapped by their violent instincts, a stark contrast to the advanced and peaceful Xenari way of life. She sees this as an opportunity to prove her society's superiority in understanding and intellect. Her spacecraft lands on a desolate planet, once a thriving human colony. The surface is barren, littered with rusting remains of massive machines and crumbling structures. The landscape is silent, with no sign of life, only the harsh wind carrying dust across the ruins. Zaylin describes how the stillness feels heavy, almost like the planet itself is hiding something. As she surveys the area, her equipment detects a hidden underground structure, a bunker built by humans. The bunker appears intact, untouched for centuries. Excitement fills her voice as she describes the chance to examine artifacts left behind by a species whose history is filled with both brilliance and destruction. She carefully enters the bunker, prepared to uncover whatever secrets it holds. Zaylin narrates her descent into the bunker, describing its cold and sterile corridor. She expects to find relics of a fallen civilization and data that will support her belief that humans, though clever, were ultimately self-destructive. But what waits for her inside is far beyond what she imagined. This discovery will force her to question her understanding of humanity, danger, and the resilience that made humans one of the galaxy's most feared species. Zaylin is a young and highly intelligent researcher from the Xenari Collective, a species that values logic and knowledge above all else. She has dedicated her life to studying other civilizations to prove her skills in her field. Zaylin is confident in her peaceful and advanced society's way of life, which rejects violence as primitive. She approaches her mission with curiosity but also with skepticism. She sees humans, especially males, as relics of a brutal past, driven by chaos and destruction. However, her drive to understand them is fueled by her ambition to stand out in the Xenari academic world and bring clarity to their myth. Zaylin seeks recognition among her peers by uncovering the truth about human males, believing their danger has been greatly exaggerated. Captain Darius Kane is one of the last surviving human males, living in hiding on the fringes of the galaxy. He is a seasoned soldier with years of experience in combat and survival. Life has hardened him, leaving visible scars both physically and emotionally. Kane represents the essence of human resilience, creativity, and determination. Despite his gruff exterior, he is deeply loyal to the remnants of humanity and carries the weight of his people's near extinction. Kane views alien species, including the Xenari, with mistrust, believing they are responsible for humanity's collapse. His tactical brilliance and ability to think under pressure make him a formidable figure. Protect the secrets of human survival and prevent their exploitation by other species, even at great personal risk. Zyval is Zaylin's superior and a high-ranking member of the Xenari Collective. He embodies their society's unwavering belief in logic and peace. Zyval disapproves of Zaylin's interest in human males, dismissing it as a waste of time. To him, humans are a closed chapter, a species that destroyed itself because it couldn't control its violent nature. His demeanor is calm and calculating, but he is quick to criticize anything he sees as irrelevant or emotional. Maintain the Xenari's moral superiority and keep their focus on advancing knowledge and peace. without revisiting the chaos of human history. Zayla narrates her arrival on a desolate, Earth-like planeta place once bustling with human life, but now reduced to barren ruin. The surface is marked by towering, rusting remains of colossal machines and skeletal structures, remnants of humanity's technological achievements and devastating war. The air is heavy with silence, broken only by the faint whistling of wind sweeping through the wasteland. Zalin describes the strange feeling of walking through a world where an entire species once thrived, now seemingly erased by time and conflict. Her equipment scans the planet's surface for signs of human artifacts, and after hours of searching, it picks up a signal. The scanner indicates the presence of an underground structure buried beneath layers of rock. Zaylin's voice reveals a mix of anticipation and confidence as she explains how such discoveries could hold invaluable information about the humans who lived here, especially the elusive male. She believes this will support her hypothesis that humanity's self-destructive tendencies outweighed its potential. As Zaylin carefully excavates the entrance, she describes the eerie process of uncovering what appears to be a bunker. The entrance is reinforced, clearly designed to withstand both time and attack. She notes that the craftsmanship is a testament to human ingenuity, even if it was driven by fear and survival. After some effort, she manages to open the hatch and descends into the street. Inside, the bunker is dark and cold, its walls lined with fading insignias of human organizations. The air smells stale, as if untouched for centuries. Zalin narrates her initial observations: rows of long-dead machinery, abandoned supplies, and data terminals coated in layers of dust. Despite the decay, the bunker feels oddly preserved, as though waiting for someone to return. While examining the equipment, Zaylin activates a dormant system. A soft hum echoes through the bunker as lights flicker to light. She notes how human technology, though primitive by Zinari standards, seems robust and functional. Her scanners identify data stored within the terminal, and she eagerly attempts to access it. However, the terminal's AI interface suddenly comes online, projecting a hologram of a human face. The AI warns her in a calm but firm tone. This is a restricted facility. Unauthorized access is dangerous. Turn back now. Zalin's confidence falters slightly, but is quickly replaced by determination. She sees the warning as an automated response, not a real threat, and continues her attempts to bypass the system. As she works, an alert blares through the bunker. Her activity has triggered a distress signal. Zaylin pauses, unsure of the implications, but dismisses it as an outdated function. She believes no one else could possibly be around to respond to the signal after so many centuries. Moments later, her scanners pick up movement outside the bunker. Zalin's narration shifts, her voice tinged with unease as she realizes someone or something is approaching. She hides in the shadows of the bunker, observing through her equipment as the intruder makes their way inside. The figure is human, a male. He is tall, rugged, and visibly armed. His movements are cautious yet deliberate, as though he is accustomed to danger. Zaylin watches as he scans the bunker, his sharp eyes taking in every detail. She describes him as intimidating, not just in appearance but in the way he carries himself, confident, alert, and ready for anything. The human male, Captain Darius Kane, quickly locates the activated terminal and disables the distress signal. He mutters to himself about avoiding attention and keeping them off his trail. Zaylin, still hidden, struggles to reconcile the reality of seeing a human male with everything she has been. This is not the reckless, primitive creature her society described, but a calm and focused individual who clearly understands his surroundings. However, Zaylin's equipment emits a faint sound, revealing her location. Kane reacts instantly, drawing his weapon and demanding she show her. Zaylin steps out cautiously, attempting to explain her mission, but Kane interrupts her. His voice is cold as he accuses her of being a spy sent by alien factions who wiped out humanity. Zaylin insists she means no harm, stating she is a researcher. Kane, skeptical, searches her belongings and finds her Zinari insignia. He lowers his weapon slightly but remains on edge. Through their tense exchange, Zaylin learns that Kane has been living in hiding, protecting what remains of humanity's secret. He warns her that activating the distress signal could attract hostile forces to their location, putting them both in danger. As their conversation continues, Zalin begins to notice subtle details about Kanehi's resourcefulness, his ability to assess threats, and the way he uses the environment to his advantage. She is struck by how different he is from the image painted by Zinari records. Kane, in turn, is wary of Zalin but curious about why she is so interested in humans. Their standoff is interrupted by a sudden explosion outside the bunker. Kane's worst fears are confirmed. The distress signal has attracted a group of alien bounty hunters, likely searching for human survivors to sell or eliminate. Kane immediately takes charge, instructing Zalin to stay out of his way. Despite her initial resistance, she realizes she has no choice but to follow his lead. The scene builds in intensity as Kane uses his knowledge of the bunker's layout and its remaining defenses to outwit the attacker. Zalin watches in awe as he moves with precision, setting traps and using the limited resources around him to fend off the intruder. Her narration highlights the stark contrast between the Zinari approach to problems calculated and passive Kane's ability to adapt and act decisively under pressure. By the time the attackers are defeated, Celine is left questioning everything she thought she knew about human males. Kane's actions were not driven by recklessness or brute force, but by strategy, ingenuity, and an unyielding will to survive. For the first time, she begins to understand why humans, especially males, were once considered the galaxy's most dangerous being. As the dust settles, Kane turns to Zalin, his expression a mix of frustration and curiosity. He tells her bluntly, "If you're going to stick around, you'd better be useful." Zalin nods, realizing that her mission has taken a turn she could never have anticipated. She is no longer just an observer. She is now part of a story far more complex and far more dangerous than she ever imagined. Zalin begins narrating her growing unease as she observes Captain Darius Kane. After the attack, they take refuge in a safer area of the bunker. The air between them is tense. Kane remains suspicious of her motives, while Zalin struggles to process the events she just witnessed. For the first time, she questions the Zinari's portrayal of human males as reckless and primitive. Kane's composure, resourcefulness, and tactical brilliance defy everything she has been. As they settle into an uneasy truce, Zalin attempts to gather information. She asks Kane about humanity's downfall, expecting a story of chaos and self-destruction. Instead, his response is chillingly different. Kane begins, his voice steady but filled with bitterness. Humanity's collapse, he explains, was not entirely self-inflicted. Alien civilizations, including the Zinari, had grown increasingly uneasy about humanity's potential, particularly the unique abilities of human males. Their adaptability, creativity, and capacity to turn fear and aggression into problem-solving tools made them unpredictable and dangerous. When humanity began expanding rapidly across the galaxy, alliances were formed to ensure humans wouldn't dominate. Zalin listens in stunned silence as Kane recounts the calculated destruction of Earth. Advanced alien species, fearing humanity's growing influence, coordinated an attack that crippled human infrastructure and scattered survivors to the edges of the galaxy. Kane's voice hardens as he describes how humanity's enemies justified their actions by framing humans as volatile and dangerous, even as they took the very traits that made humans unique and weaponized them for their own purposes. He pauses, then looks directly at Zalin. "You think we destroyed ourselves? You think we're just savages who couldn't control our instincts? No, they feared, and they were right too." Zalin tries to defend the Zinari, arguing that their actions were likely driven by a desire to maintain peace. But Kane cuts her off. "Peace?" he scoffs. "Peace is what you call it when you've already won. Your kind didn't want peace. You wanted control. And when we didn't bow down, you decided we were better off Kane's words leave Zalin shaken, but her scientific curiosity pushes her to ask more. She brings up the term human neural divergence, HND, a concept briefly mentioned in the Zinari archive. Kane's reaction is immediate. His eyes narrow and his posture stiffens. It's clear he knows what she's talking about, but he's reluctant to discuss. Zalin presses on, explaining that HND refers to a unique neurological trait observed in human males. The Zenari's limited research suggests that this trait allows them to channel fear, stress, and aggression into heightened cognitive and physical performance. It's why human males were often at their best in the worst situations, capable of finding creative solutions under pressure. Zaylin had dismissed the concept as theoretical, but after witnessing Kane in action, she is no longer so certain. Kane finally speaks, his tone somber. He confirms that HND is real, and that it played a significant role in humanity's survival and its downfall. "We didn't ask for it," he says. "It's just how we're wired. When everything falls apart, we don't freeze. We figure it out. Sometimes that meant saving lives. Sometimes it meant winning wars. And sometimes it meant making enemies we couldn't afford to have." He explains that alien species, unable to replicate HND, saw it as both a threat and an opportunity. Some sought to eliminate humanity entirely, while others attempted to capture and study human males to unlock their secrets. The latter led to atrocities that Kane refuses to describe in detail, but hints at with a mixture of anger and sorrow. Zaylin, overwhelmed by the implications, begins to see the Zenari in a new light. Her people's insistence on peace and logic now seems less like a moral high ground and more like a shield to hide behind. She questions whether their fear of humanity was truly justified or simply a reaction to something they couldn't understand. Their conversation is interrupted by a sudden alarm. Kane explains that the attackers they fought earlier likely sent a signal to their allies, and more are on their way. Zaylin offers to help, using her Zenari technology to enhance the bunker's defenses. Kane hesitates but ultimately agrees, recognizing that her knowledge could make a difference. As they work together, Zaylin begins to grasp the depth of human ingenuity. Kane repurposes old machinery, using scraps to build traps and weapons, while Zaylin integrates Zenari systems to boost their efficiency. She is struck by how quickly Kane adapts to new tools and concepts, his mind working in ways she finds both alien and awe-inspiring. During a brief pause, Zaylin asks Kane why he continues to fight when humanity's survival seems hopeless. His answer is simple but profound. "Because we're still here. As long as we're alive, there's a chance. And I'll be damned if I let anyone take that away from us." This moment of raw determination resonates deeply with Zaylin. She realizes that humanity's true strength lies not just in HND or their ability to survive, but in their refusal to give up, no matter how dire the circumstances. It's a trait she finds both inspiring and unsettling. The second wave of attackers arrives, larger and better equipped than the first. Kane and Zaylin face overwhelming odds, but their combined efforts hold the line. Zaylin narrates the battle with a mix of awe and fear, describing how Kane's leadership and quick thinking turned the tide. Despite his gruff demeanor, he ensures her safety, placing himself in harm's way to protect her. By the time the fight is over, the bunker is damaged but intact. Kane, exhausted but unbroken, surveys the aftermath. Zaylin, for the first time, admits that she underestimated humanity. She tells Kane that she came to this planet to prove that human males were not as dangerous as the legends claimed. Now, she says quietly, "I'm not so sure." Kane smirks, though there's no humor in his expression. Dangerous? Maybe. But the real question is, dangerous to who? Zaylin's narration reflects her growing inner conflict. She begins to question everything she thought she knew about her own people, about humanity, and about what it truly means to be dangerous. As she watches Kane prepare for whatever comes next, she realizes that her mission has become far more complicated and far more important than she ever anticipated. Zaylin narrates as the tension between her and Captain Darius Kane shifts from mistrust to a reluctant partner. After fending off the second wave of attackers, Kane begins repairing the bunker's critical systems, while Zaylin analyzes the data she retrieved from the terminal. Her findings are shocking. The Zenari Collective, along with other alien factions, not only destroyed humanity's infrastructure but actively sought to exploit the unique neurological traits of human males. The data reveals experiments conducted by alien species to harness human neural divergence (HND) for their own benefit. These experiments were cruel and inhumane, designed to force human males into high-stress situations to unlock their problem-solving capabilities. Many of these individuals did not survive. Zaylen's voice falters as she realizes the Zinari were complicit in these atrocities, despite their claims of moral superiority. Kane interrupts her thoughts, his tone grim. Now you know. This wasn't about peace or protecting the galaxy, it was about fear. They couldn't control us, so they decided to break us. Zaylen struggles with this revelation. She has always believed in the Zinari's commitment to peace and knowledge. Now, she sees the darker side of their actions, their willingness to manipulate and destroy in the name of maintaining their dominance. She begins questioning her mission, her society, and even herself. Before she can process her thoughts, the bunker's sensors detect another incoming threat. This time, it's not a small band of bounty hunters, but a Zinari military ship. Zaylen is stunned. The Zinari rarely intervene directly, preferring diplomacy over aggression. Their arrival here suggests they've been monitoring her mission closely. Kane's expression hardens as he prepares for the work. The Zinari contact Zaylen, their tone authoritative and cold. They demand she detain Kane and hand over all data related to HND. Zaylen hesitates, torn between her loyalty to her people and her growing sense of injustice. She tries to reason with them, arguing that Kane poses no immediate threat and that the Zinari's actions in the past were unethical. The response is swift and unyielding. Failure to comply will result in her termination as well as Kane's elimination. Zaylen turns to Kane, who watches her silently. He doesn't beg or plead. He simply waits, his eyes steady and resolute. The weight of her decision presses down on her, and she realizes there is no easy way out. In this moment of crisis, Zaylen's narration slows, reflecting her inner turmoil. She acknowledges that her entire life has been guided by the Zinari's principles of logic and peace, but those principles now feel hollow. She has witnessed the horrors inflicted on humanity and seen the resilience and resourcefulness of Kane firsthand. She must choose between upholding her society's ideals or standing against them to protect a man she once considered dangerous. Zaylen makes her decision. She disables the bunker's communication systems, cutting off the Zinari's ability to track. Kane raises an eyebrow but says nothing, quietly preparing for the inevitable confrontation. The Zinari ship lands near the bunker, and a squad of armored soldiers moves in. Kane takes charge, using his knowledge of the terrain and the bunker's defenses to set traps and ambush points. Zaylen assists him, her advanced technology complementing his tactical expertise. Despite their differences, they work together seamlessly, a testament to their combined ingenuity. The ensuing battle is intense and chaotic. Zaylen narrates the clash, describing how Kane's quick thinking and adaptability turned the Zinari's superior technology against them. At one point, she witnesses Kane disable an entire squad with nothing more than scavenged parts and a strategic understanding of their weaknesses. His actions reinforce everything she has learned about the danger and brilliance of human males. Amid the fighting, Zaylen is confronted by one of her Zinari colleagues, a soldier who recognizes her. He accuses her of betrayal, reminding her of her duty to the collective. Zaylen hesitates, torn between her past and present. Ultimately, she responds with conviction. Our duty is to seek the truth, not to bury it. The battle ends with the Zinari forces retreating. Their losses too great to continue. Kane and Zaylen emerge victorious, but the cost is clear. The bunker is heavily damaged, and their position is no longer secure. Kane suggests leaving the planet, knowing the Zinari will return with greater numbers. Zaylen agrees but insists on taking the data with them. She believes it holds the key to exposing the truth about the Zinari's actions and potentially rebuilding humanity's place in the galaxy. Kane is hesitant, warning her that such knowledge could be dangerous in the wrong hands. Zaylen reassures him, stating that it's time for the galaxy to face the consequences of its actions. As they prepare to leave, Zaylen reflects on how much she has changed. She no longer sees Kane as a threat, but as a symbol of humanity's resilience. She acknowledges that while human males may be dangerous, it is not their violence that defines them, but their unyielding will to survive and protect those they care about. The story concludes with Zalin and Cain departing the planet in an old, patched-together ship. Zalin's final narration is filled with a sense of purpose and uncertainty. She admits that she doesn't know what the future holds, but believes that humanity's story is far from over. Her voice carries a warning for the Zinari and the galaxy at large. They tried to destroy humanity because they feared its potential, but what they didn't realize is that potential can never be erased. It adapts, it survives, and one day it will rise again. As the ship disappears into the stars, the scene lingers on the abandoned planet, a silent witness to the events that have unfolded. The message is clear. Humanity, despite its flaws, remains one of the galaxy's most remarkable and enduring species. Zalin and Cain sit silently in the cockpit of their patched-together ship, the faint hum of its engines filling the air. The aftermath of their battle weighs heavily on both of them. Zalin begins her final narration, reflecting on the choices she made and the truths she uncovered. She admits that her mission to prove humanity's supposed danger was misguided. Instead, she discovered something far more profound: the resilience and adaptability that define humans, particularly males like Cain. She recalls the moment she disabled the Zinari's communications, fully aware it marked her betrayal of the collective. For the first time, Zalin acted not out of duty but out of conscience, choosing what she believed was right rather than what her society dictated. That choice, she now realizes, wasn't just about saving Kanite, was about rejecting the Zinari's fear-driven hypocrisy and embracing the complexity of humanity. Cain breaks the silence, his voice gruff but reflective. He thanks Zalin, though not in so many words, for standing by him. His gratitude is understated, but it speaks volumes. Zalin replies that she didn't do it for him alone. She did it for the truth and for the hope that one day humanity might reclaim its place in the galaxy, not as a threat, but as a force for change. Their ship exits the atmosphere, heading toward the stars. Cain sets a course for a distant system where a small group of human survivors is rumored to live. Zalin volunteers to help them rebuild, offering her knowledge and technology to aid their efforts. Cain is skeptical but doesn't refuse her help, acknowledging that humanity's survival might depend on unlikely alliances like theirs. As they travel, Zalin reviews the data she salvaged from the bunker. It contains damning evidence of the Zinari's involvement in humanity's downfall, as well as insights into HND that could redefine the galaxy's understanding of human potential. She wrestles with the responsibility of what to do with this information. Sharing it could expose the Zinari's actions and force accountability, but it could also reignite hostilities against humans. Zalin's final narration reveals her hope that the data can be used wisely. She believes humanity's greatest strength lies not in its capacity for war, but in its ability to endure and evolve. The very traits that made humans feared are also what make them remarkable. The story closes with Zalin reflecting on the Zinari's role in suppressing humanity. They feared us because they couldn't control us. But what they didn't understand is that control was never the answer. Survival isn't about dominance, it's about perseverance. And humanity, for all its flaws, the ship disappears into the vastness of space. Zalin's voice fades with a final thought. Humanity's story isn't over. It's only just beginning, and this time, the galaxy will have to face the truth whether it's ready or not. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more thought-provoking sci-fi tales, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share your thoughts below. What do you think makes humanity unique in the galaxy? And what would you do in Zalin's place? Stay tuned for more stories that explore the power of resilience, survival, and the unknown. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.